P.M. May 11th, Town Hall, this is the meeting of the Independent Conservation Commission. We have four members here present in the room. My name is Paul Hummel, I'm the chair. Introduce themselves.
Bob Sweet,
Susan Cahalan, her chair.
Tim McCarty.
Okay. Number of open hearings at 7:15, but for once, we're starting on time, so we'll be able to get a bunch of other pieces of business done first. Take the roll call first. Do we have someone here to discuss 26 Ralston Farm Drive? Fred, I think you're on the, on Zoom. Fred, are you there? I'll check in with him later.
He's there, he's muted.
Yeah, I know. I'm worried we can use it. Do we have anyone here to talk further about 106 Milton? Yep, well, I'm just taking the roll call to see what order I do things. 101 Blackstone. Yep. 22 Cape Road, it's going to be continued, and we have that. So start going through. Those are the things we'll start covering at 7:15. So in the meantime, I can go over some of the correspondence that we have received past 2 weeks. We got an email from Julian Vaughn at Boston University asking for information about Meadowbrook Woods conservation land and how it was purchased, and how it was being managed, and these are responding. We had email from Mass DEP. Their web portal is now featuring new RDA and really online forms. So access in you will be able to work by it. How do you do that? Or
Maya?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, our certified. Email from Mrs. Smith at FEMA to the select board. Full town has gotten revised preliminary copies of the flood insurance rate maps. There are a number of the tributaries areas that seem to be affected. The select board will be taking the lead, I expect, in working with FEMA for review with them. Since I expect it to be a long process, it happened about 10, 15 years ago, so I hope some historical knowledge will be to that. But that's just a notice that we'll be doing something in the future. Turning to items that we received in the past 48 hours that are not listed on the agenda. There was a concern from Rich LaRoe about tree cutting along Blackstone Drive. He's at 5153. He has been dialoguing with the tree warden about the concerns that he had about work on the stone wall and trees there. And the Concom is sort of interested because we'd like to see stone walls put back together again. And along with the highway department, we would be concerned if culvert got blocked up by a lot of bark, mulch, tree cuttings getting to blocking things up. That seems to be getting in. There is a additional certificate of compliance that we've been talking about 47 Milford Street. This is the Canada Partners. Is there someone here for that? Okay, they may be showing. This is, even though it's a continuation in the public hearing, they do consider time to be of the essence of this, so we can see about discussing that if they arrive. They completed their state inspection of the fact that they're going to do some cannabis. And in order for the paperwork to progress for them to open, they would need a conditional order of conditions from us. They're going to come in and talk about the rate card, the other work that they discussed. We discussed it. There's a potential buffer zone violation at 36 Washington Street. And so 2 to 3 years ago, they were doing some tree cutting close to the back of their lot which is on creeks. There may be a manure pile. We reached out via email to the homeowner and we may want to investigate further on that. So as I left a voicemail message. At some point, we may end up going out and doing a sidewalk to see where she's setting up her pile and see what. First off, if that's within 200 feet. The creek wetlands buffer zone, second, concerned about pile. We also want to talk to her long range plan is to build the structure. We want to talk to her about the impact of doing that within buffer zone.
Did she say whether we welcome to step on the property?
No, she had an animal inspection, the animal inspector notified us via email that there's a manure pile that may be within the buffer area. I left a message for it. Inspector said, be careful what you're doing in that area. We'll see what her response is. I got the voicemail this afternoon. Last one is that 116 Oxford Street has received Board of Health approval, so that's the circle the Georgia's seafood place. They got Board of Health approval and we will be looking at their septic system. In 2 weeks, we'll see whether they are still interested in doing it in the same place or whether they moved it out of the way. Still have some time. Status of hiring a new admin agent. Background check for the applicant interview is having issues. The process is trying to get through. It's working. However, I've received and Shelley that it's not likely that would be considered to be a suitable candidate. They are exploring other issues. Long range, we may be doing a joint ventures with another town. Both library accounts. Possibility. Let's see.
That one, yeah. Ian has her hand up.
Yeah, Dan's muted. So someone else needs to.
And Mazar has her hand up.
Yeah, well, I'll let me finish. The town may be hiring someone for 15 hours and then 18 hours a week, 3 hours a week. Which is less than me, but it's 3 hours more than we have now. So I expect to be hearing more about that in the Shelley between now and the law in the pastures. Dan, you have your hand up. Did you want to say something?
If you wanted to finish something before 7:15, I could talk about 85. That's all I was going to offer.
Okay, yes. Is there still an issue with encroachment and grass cutting in the past since our meeting in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's hard to tell because I'm not sure they mowed the lawn, but I think that since in the past years they mowed and put the net up, it would be great if you guys could send a letter and just let them know that they shouldn't encroach, and then possibly someone call or talk to them, and then if they do encroach, we do have a sign that could be put up.
Okay, and is that a sign that Metacomet has, or is it something that you have in land use?
Patrice Murphy has it. She's the land steward for the Meadowbrook Uplands.
Okay, so Patrice would do that in her role as land steward and.
Well, she might put it up, but we also sometimes hire Alan Greenberg to help us with that type of thing. But ideally, it would be great if you could contact the neighbors just to let them know, please don't do this, because if you do, we're going to put a sign up, because I think they would much rather not have a sign up. But I just think that there needs to be that clear communication with them, and with a letter is great, definitely send that, but
Okay. So do you have, I haven't checked, look back in the email. Did you send a draft letter that we could send?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay, so I'm printing that out and going to town on Monday and and seeing the arrangements. Do I have a volunteer to go talk to this homeowner? Do I have a volunteer to talk to the homeowner? No volunteer, okay.
For what?
Well, the conversation we asked politely last year, don't grass or put up. The person work with. Okay, I will see about getting that.
And so Charlie Jack. Guns.
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Yeah.
Move the mic down. Unfortunately, there's a comment about weapons of mass destruction being allowed.
Good. You just have to repeat it.
All right, so we're taking care of that. All right. Oh, yes, we got a bill from the company that took the beavers out of Lake Nipmuc, a couple weeks ago. So I will see about who I talked to about getting that paid. We also ended up getting a package from MACC, materials for Maya Clark. It looks like she may have taken some classes. So they delivered it here rather than her home address. I sent an email to Shelley saying, please contact her and find out what we're supposed to do. So I personally. So that's all over the course.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah, I opened it up. This is, this is, she ordered a couple of manuals.
She keep.
Because she paid for them on her own credit.
Oh, she did.
She ordered some classes. So looking at the invoice, it looks like she's already paid for it. Already. They just shipped it here rather than, this is what they had as their mailing.
Yeah.
So I asked Shelley to reach out and see what got this bundle here, how we want to deal. All right, it's now close enough to 7:15. Fred, are you there?
I'm here, but I'm having a hard time with the video, so
Okay,
I couldn't get the audio and video together.
Okay, so
But-
you want me to move on and do one of the other hearings first?
I can carry on like this. I can see you, I can hear you, but I think all you have is audio from me.
Right, so let me check and see. Yeah, I don't have anything in the folder from you that for documents that we can look at. Did you mail something?
Well, I delivered a complete package to the conservation office
Oh, great.
originally.
And I don't have,
And
yeah.
yeah, we were assured that we'd have it, that you would have it. This was weeks ago. But so you don't have a plan with you? I did email the package to you as well.
Okay, I'm checking. That's what I'm here looking in the email. I have an email. Susan, did you get something that was sent directly to you? Okay.
Greg, can you forward the package that you have to somebody's email where maybe we can open it here?
Sure, if I can, I'll have to get out of this and go to my email and find it and send it and then get back on.
Yeah, send it to Concom and then I can pull it up here on the town Outlook and share it out here.
I believe I did send it. I think you were copied on it, Mendon Concom. It would have been quite a while ago though. So maybe it's easier if I just get on and send it.
I didn't think it has a little copy of the legal notice email.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I don't have them, I just have a copy of the legal notice.
Yeah, I have the legal notice, notice of intent filing.
Okay, notice of intent filing would be the complete package, I believe.
Right, but I don't have that. Yeah, you sent it directly to Susan and Susan didn't forward it, so it's maybe in your Gmail.
Yeah, I'm here now, it's fine.
April 13th. 11 a.m.
Okay,
April 13th?
yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want me to send it or
Yeah, well,
send it to you again right now?
we'll see if you have
I'm running a search. Is it for,
notice of intent filing. I have on screen, when you forward, you sent along, you didn't forward, so.
No attachment.
My town account didn't get the attachment, so it says it's in here.
I have something for,
April 13th.
Yeah, it would have been before April 13th. But I sent it originally to the Concom. But it might be easier for me to just resend it right now.
Okay. All right, I'll move on to 106. So we got a picture that there was some channeling that happened after the big rain event.
Yeah, I think a little bit, and you know, they'll, once they can get in there, they'll patch up that stuff once it's strong. I've over. We do have a picture, this is today here.
So I can see the rain doing it, but how did the rain take away the covering there and the brown spot?
I think they're still putting that down. I think that's a spot where they're still putting it down.
So that is actually a erosion control blanket that they're putting down to try and prevent any more of those large scale breakouts from the stormwater that we saw a large rain event. And that was a big storm that we had over that week. So this is just a further preventative measure to try and not have something like that happen again.
So that's an additional, so that wasn't in the original.
That wasn't the original plan, but we saw that that it was gonna work, and that was something that we decided to implement into the.
Makes sense. Good.
What is that, like a burlap or a cheese?
Burlap, yep, and there's seed underneath it too, and it'll grow through.
Here's the other.
Burlaps, that's good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, here's a picture from May 1st showing some channeling.
Yeah, it looks much different than out there now than it does in that photo. It was totally green again. There was dirt added back to spaces where it lost it, and then the erosion control blankets were put on top of it. So we probably, hopefully won't see that kind of erosion happen again in a large scale storm.
I assume that the snow fence is in front of the homeless.
Actually, the silt fence is above where there's kind of was an initial detention basin that had been dug. So a lot of that water had just kind of channelized down into our purpose built.
Yeah, you can see the silk fence here, and you're saying it got stopped up here.
It got stopped right there, exactly.
Good thing.
Tiffany, first I'll send this picture to you.
Yeah. CO and CO.
And the hillside does have grass on it too, that's underneath it, that had grown previous to this photo being taken. So now, when I went out there before they were, well, that was Wednesday, it was all green. So hopefully the grass will help with the erosion as well.
CON.
Yeah. CONS, CONS.
At what, Mass?
At
MendenMA.gov.
That looked like it was greening up pretty good, a week or so.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it looked really good out there when I was out there.
I was surprised to see that much washing.
Yeah, I was too, but when I went out there this week. And I went out there this week, it looked really good. And there was a worker out there who was even touching up spots of grass that didn't have it, so. The bird that didn't have any grass, so they're working overtime, trying to keep this maintained and not to have any more. Yes.
The less eyes that have to be there,
the happier everybody is.
Absolutely.
Something on
Yeah, it's empty.
it.
It's a big picture. It looks like it'll be there in, since it's almost gone.
So what is your time estimate for when, hillside will become stabilized?
Probably throughout this year into the fall, as the growth continues throughout the summer and then during the fall growing season, and we will submit a package to you that would show our final findings and everything and show that it's stabilized, and if it's not, then we'll do the measures that's necessary in order to stabilize it.
At what stage do you mow it?
We're not supposed to be mowing it. If anything, we're gonna mow the top. I think we're gonna try and keep the hillside as lush as possible in order to keep those plants able to do more stormwater prevention than anything.
So the plan is it never needs to be mowed.
I don't believe so.
Become like a tree.
It'll be like a kind of a wildflower native area, more than a lawn.
So it's all low growth stuff, no trees. or-
No trees or anything like that. It's all herbaceous.
If the birds drop, that'd be a few years ago.
Be a field, and then go from field to forest.
Well, I have no question. Thank you for staying on.
You have that picture.
Yep, there it is. Soon as, yep.
Should be in the Zoom.
That's full notice. of intent.
So this brown patch, why is it a different color? than-
It hasn't been netted yet for some reason.
Okay, and we're seeing some cross hatching here and here.
It's like steps.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what that is, but the rest of it is the erosion control blanket. It might have been that they just hadn't gone and finished up the nailing it down.
Okay,
That it might look a little different, but, and then the bottom of that is the drainage swale.
Yep.
Yep, it goes all the way around the entire hillside itself, so that's also what caught a lot of the sediment in order, and didn't allow it into the wetlands to the
right, so.
west and to the south.
So all of the channeling from the May 1st storm was stopped here and it didn't get down into the siltation fence that's bordering the fence. and wet.
Correct.
There's not stairs on the right-hand side, are they?
It wasn't stairs when I was out there.
I see it click on and blow it up, I'm not sure.
It wasn't like that when I was out there on Wednesday. I'm not sure what was done since then, aside from the erosion control.
And these are designed stone outlets there, and there, because that's.
On the left-hand side are actually check dams for water to allow the sediment to fall out.
Slow it down as it's coming down around here.
And then the larger ones are to allow water to spill over
Yeah.
into the area that has this erosion control blanket in it, and that was a detention basin that had actually been dug prior to the grading of the hill.
I can't zoom on this because of the way the software's working.
Yeah, I'm sending the last pictures, so just give me 1 second,
Oh,
and
okay.
I'll be at the Zoom.
And is that a thing of jute down at the very bottom, you put in for some reason?
I'm not sure what that is. Again, I haven't been out there since they put the erosion control in, so that must have gone in yesterday or this afternoon.
Like a different sort of thing.
Now, if I remember the site plans, this area here in the top left, that's where people.
The dirt, so the dirt was all graded into a permeable road, which your clicker is currently on right there. Everything has been stabilized with grass and
I think you've got that picture if you want to check,
Okay,
over there, that road.
check the next one.
Yep.
Ah, good.
so that's where the excess fill was utilized, and
Yeah,
on
you
top
can
of
see
it,
Right here, there's a.
yep, that's the grass berm that was seeded as well. You can see the siltation fence also running just in case any kind of breakout from that has happened, but we didn't see any kind of stormwater runoff like we did on the main hill just because that's a smaller grade. And then on top of that is crushed stone.
So what's the height of that bank? 6 feet, maybe 8 feet?
Yeah, it's something around there, I would say.
Ernie, can you zoom in on the right-hand side of the work zone?
The big hill?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what those are. I didn't take a super clear picture of that area.
It looks like it's too wide to be machine tracks. Yeah, I don't think that's machine track. Is it going different?
They're mighty regular.
It's like there's something working on.
I can take a look at it on tomorrow or Monday and report back if that's needed.
And then whatever's on the other street too.
That's what I'm saying. It's a strange appearance.
There's a question really on that.
You're almost levels, you can fill it into that grade.
All the way down the hill. Would be no purpose.
Okay, well, what I will do is, since the situation is pretty stable at this point, we're going to move this out of the public hearing section. Notice is that these. Reports from neighbors. Status. Yeah, there's an opportunity for discussion. There's no discussion, we just move on and that as an agenda item in case we do need to discuss something over the next couple of months.
Okay, so moving forward, how would you like to see with coming to the hearings and everything? Should I just submit our fall monitoring and erosion control in September or so, and then we'll go from there?
Well, the next thing we would want to do is, when there's another,
Well, that's what they,
we want you to look at the site and hear from the neighbors, as we did this time, if there's anything. And
yeah, put all the filters
At the point-
there. and-
we could put something in writing saying, yes, storm run successful this time, where if there's an issue. And
So send me
sometimes,
some pictures.
yes,
To that, you know.
and sometime when you think that the situation is solved, everyone's convinced that the site is now stable, then we would have an official meeting to discuss it, close out this.
Okay, sounds good.
Is that? It worked here?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah, no, we're very pleased.
Yeah.
And if there's more issues, we'll address it. I think it looks pretty good, and I think they're probably still tweaking a little bit.
Yeah, well, that may be what's
I'll
going on.
try to get you, I'll try to take a clearer picture there tomorrow, because I'm curious what it is myself at this point. So I'll kind of zoom in on that. Yeah, I'll send that. Yeah, I'll take, I just really took a far up picture of the whole area.
Yeah.
I'll go down and take some clear pictures of those things and send them to you.
Was that a drone shot or was that?
Yeah,
That video.
well, that was just a single picture. If you guys want me to take a video, I can. The problem is it's hard to email those things.
What you might want is have drop a
I'm
storage.
still trying to figure that out.
You
I
could-
dropped that block so many times, it doesn't seem to want to work.
What you.
I'll have my kids show them.
And you sure you make that video, put it in Dropbox, with the link and then. Edit.
Wait. See if I can.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, did you receive my email?
Yes,
Yeah, the plan.
So less.
yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
We go back to 26 Ralston. Yeah, your name's not showing up this time.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my phone number.
And
This
you're-
is Fred Lapham.
As long as we know
regarding
it's, yeah.
Okay. Yep. So I sent the email and you should have the plan attached
Yeah.
in PDF format.
Yep, I can bring that up. I didn't want to push that, but. All right, so here is the plan for 106 Ralston, Ralston. This is the intent. Submitted on behalf of Sylvan Springs Realty Trust by Fred Latham, Shea Engineer, for work involving a single family home. Take it away.
Okay. Finally back on, and everybody's got the information. So this
Yep.
is a single family house.
Bill, to see this.
It's lot 14 on the subdivision plan, house number 26. And this was one of the lots in the original subdivision that was approved back in 2006. It is a 6-bedroom house, so the septic, we were able to design the driveway, septic, and placement of the house so that we comply with all the conservation minimum setbacks as far as building setback and no disturb area is the no disturb is outside of our work area. There is this, I believe, has been approved by the Board of Health, and we're looking for. I know the state DEP Wetlands Division has issued a file number with no comment on the filing. So I'm hoping that we can answer any questions anybody may have regarding the design, and so we can move forward with the project. So if anybody has any questions, I'm ready to answer them.
Is the DEP number here, and I'm not seeing it on the notice of intent?
You would have been copied by email from DEP. I had the DEP file number for quite a while, so you should have been copied. It would have been sent to you, and probably copied to us, or vice versa. One or the other. They send it to both.
Yep, 26 Boston, no comment.
Hey, Fred, how close is the house to the wetlands? Or the disturbed?
How close is the disturb?
Yeah.
The closest it is would be 25 feet. Let me put a scale on it.
Sure.
I'm sorry, sound. The sound I'm getting is intermittent. There's part of it that is no sound, and I can get most of what's going on, but not everything.
Yeah, is this better?
So, hello?
Can you hear me now, Fred?
I can hear you, Tim.
Okay. No, the reason why I was asking is how much wetland is there? How many square? No?
Yeah, we have the site data is in a box in the upper left-hand corner of the plan, and we have 66,000 square feet of upland and 68, almost 69,000 square feet total. So it would be almost 30,000 square feet of wetland shown on this property.
Okay.
Yeah, just about 3,000.
3,000.
Total acreage in square feet, and then upland is, wetlands is the difference between those two numbers.
Yes.
Okay, and the proposal, you have a line of work here going along right at 25 feet, but that's the best you can manage because of it's such a tight lot.
It is, and we've managed to keep it out of the no disturb, and we just the setbacks are determined by when does the upland area get wide enough so that we can have adequate backfill for the foundation on the low side, which is the side closest to the wetland. So we just moved that house back as far as we had to so that we could comply with the no disturb setback. If we move it back, if we move it back further, then we get into a situation where we're clearing more of the land than what we're showing, just to achieve a little more separation from the wetlands. So this is the minimal amount of clearing that we can manage with those factors being
Yep.
addressed.
With it zoomed this far, here's the 25-foot and you're out of that. This is the 50-foot. No part of the proposed dwelling is within 50 foot. You do have part of the proposed dwelling between 50 and 100 feet.
Yes.
And what you drop from the corner of the house to the end of proposed work?
Here's the contour line. If you go on up, you can see the contour line. Yeah. Go ahead and stand up now. Middle-aged eyes. So
it's a 7 foot, about 7 to an 8 foot drop, Fred?
Yes, it is. It's 3 to 1, so it will support the vegetative cover, just normal grass seed and mulch that goes down when they first plant the grass. So, yeah, 3 to 1, all the way to the edge of the limit of work.
Now, are they putting in for, is that pipe and stone or is that the Caltech system?
Yes, this is a trench system.
So it's pipe and
and
stone?
No, there's no pipe and stone. This is an open bottom chamber made by Caltech. So,
Okay.
this is the smallest system you can get to have the full capacity for a 6-bedroom house.
how many square feet is the proposed dwelling? Is it 3,000, 3,500?
3,000 was about what the area of wetland was.
No, I'm saying the house is built. How big is the house going to be with 6 bedrooms? Is that
Oh, I
30?
see what you're saying. Yeah, it's
Great big
the
house.
full length. Yeah, it's a large house, but the full length of the structure from the garage to the opposite end is about 85, 86 feet.
What's he proposing for erosion control? Can you see it?
So
Wattles and supplements.
Fred, can you
Yeah,
hear me?
we have, yes, the erosion control
Yeah.
is both silt fence, it's straw wattles backed by silt fence. There's a construction detail on the plan showing it. And in one area, we had to actually provide about 42 feet of boulder retaining wall so that we can meet that minimum distance, 25 feet from the wetlands. And I can see that we do not have the construction detail of that erosion control.
Just
Oh yeah, you have it right there.
this is how the silt fence is.
yeah. Just want to see.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Something like that.
Now, the boulder's coming on off the property itself, Fred? That'll let you.
Could you repeat that?
The property?
I'm sorry, I'm not getting that full sentence.
You're showing us a boulder wall, stone wall. Is that
Yes.
coming from the property or they're bringing stones in?
That's, if we find them during excavation, certainly we'll use them. But they have plenty of places to find large boulders on that site. Usually what they do when they're breaking up the rock for the roadway, they have a stash pile of boulders that would be suitable for these boulder walls. We have vegetative cover wherever we can, but in the case where we have a short section, we like to avoid the wall if possible, but it's maximum 4 feet. And I think this one is a maximum of 3 feet in the construction
Which is
detail.
3.5 feet.
Fred, is Gentis still doing the site work up there?
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
yep.
He does a really nice job.
Hey.
It's the site guy up there. It's
No, it looks
very,
good to me.
very meticulous.
What are the things you usually ask about?
No, the stuff around the well, I just.
Well, that he's
That was
got,
my next
he's got the temporary
It
stuff.
says
Yep.
that,
Yeah, he's got a barrier there, which is required.
But Carl reminds me, my usual question, what about downspouts? They're going into a French drain? Is there going to be a drain to daylight or what?
Well, we haven't shown any downspouts, but if we are out to more than 50 feet away from the wetland, the downspouts come to daylight. If they are underground, they'll come to daylight within the work area, and they will be part of the runoff. If it's roof runoff only, it's considered clean runoff. It's rain that has not been mixed with roadway flows or anything like that. So yeah, we allow that to travel right over the upland area and down to the wetland, just because there's so little flow in a downspout. There's plenty of opportunity for it to spread out. Sink, most of it will go back into the soil, and what doesn't will be overland flowed to the wetland, just like rainwater. So
Okay, I'm
we
all
don't-
right with that, maybe for a downspout, but if you're going to connect the downspouts into a French drain around the whole enchilada, and you're going to have a walkout in the back and it's 495, so your concrete is going to be down at like what? You tell me. It's going to be hard to get it to daylight and keep it in the limit of work, isn't it?
no, because the house is up in elevation. The cellar
Okay.
floor is at 495, and we have. I'm sorry, what was that?
I'm sorry, that's Tim telling me that we don't, the standard practice is not to put downspouts into the French drain, but you're saying you would be putting
Oh,
in
yeah.
French.
Yeah, all of these houses going up this hill will have foundation drains.
But they don't
and
necessarily go to daylight. Is that what you're telling me?
No, they do go to daylight. The downspouts won't be directed to the foundation drain. They'll just go to daylight as soon as they can. But the cellar floor, the foundation drain is going to be below cellar floor elevation of 495. And you can see over by the edge of the disturbance, the limit of work, we have an elevation of approximately 491, the existing grade. So there's plenty of vertical separation between the foundation drain, and it will daylight in that far left-hand corner of our work area.
So
That is elevation 491.
would be coming out where the stone wall is going to be proposed, or further north up here?
Probably further north. Yeah, we wouldn't want it to come out near the wall if possible. It'll probably come out that rear left hand corner and go over, angled up towards the northerlymost corner of our work area.
Here, okay.
Fred,
when you do the as-built, can you mark the perimeter drain out so we know where it is? When you do the
Yeah,
foundation?
sure, we can
as-built?
do that.
Okay.
Yep. We'll do that.
Thank you.
Any other questions
Okay.
about the drainage from the house or the gutters?
Really, I'm seeing is that.
Yeah.
Previous, at 195.
Right, if the concrete is at 195 and your low point at the edge of work is 494. You gotta be 3 to 4 feet underground to prevent frost and freezing of the pipe, don't you?
Yes, concrete floor is 495.
Oh, no, the elevation that we're at the limit of work area is 491. It's about halfway between, you can see the limit of work area is about halfway between 492 proposed contour and 490, which we put it at approximately 491. So we have plenty of vertical drop, and to begin with, the cellar floor elevation is 1 foot above natural grade, but we're certainly gonna be, we're bringing in a lot of fill for that backyard. It's not deep fill, but it spreads out probably 50 feet from the back of the house and 20, 25 feet to the left, off the left end of the house, closest to the wetland. So it's about 2 or 3 feet of fill for the yard construction, which allows for a walkout cellar in the back, a portion of it. And it'll provide plenty of cover for a foundation drain.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
if we're talking about the house drains, I wanted to ask about runoff from the driveway. The high point of the highway is right on the edge of the driveway, 501 feet. My concern is what will be done to make sure that the water from the driveway up near the garage and then down doesn't get diverted across the septic system area and flowing very quickly into the wetlands. Is it going to be graded so that the water flows down the driveway or off to the side, the far side of the driveway?
At the bottom, he's got a swale there, but he's got a grade.
Yeah,
Down.
most of that driveway has a swale on the uphill side of, so the overland flow that would come from lot 15 and go through 14 is allowed to continue to flow, and it's diverted by swales to the right and left of the house and septic area. The swale continues down the driveway towards the street, and we have a low point you can see there of where the pipe is elevation 495, and it goes under the driveway being kept up so that the swale can be built. And also it provides the low area of the low point of the driveway is at the edge of Rawson Farm Drive. So that becomes part of any flow that comes down that driveway, becomes part of the street runoff. And so it will be cleaned through function of the detention basin that is directed to.
When
and in this case,
you
I'm
have these.
sorry, what? Pardon me?
Gets turned off.
I just heard part of that.
I'm waiting until we can fix his phone line. When on the diagram, when there are these two short dash lines and then a dash line going the opposite direction, does that mean a swale?
No, that's the fence.
This line?
Those arrows are flow directional arrows. I believe that's in the legend. Not the legend, but yeah, it's not shown in the legend that shows test hole symbols and that. But it is a flow direction arrow, and we label it as swale.
Okay,
So they should It goes, most of it goes to the front, part of it goes to the back.
Okay, so.
So it's gonna be spread out somewhat just by that.
So the expectation is the water would flow down the driveway, get to this point, and then get diverted into the street area.
Yes,
Uh,
it's a continuous down pitch right to the pavement on
Yep.
Rawson Farm.
Is there a storm drain somewhere along the road someplace?
Yes, those two there, catch basin.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yes,
So I figured that they would,
The highway department's gonna be okay with you diverting all the water onto the street, Fred?
yeah, it's part of, we do it all the time. It's part of the drainage design. When we came in and got, approval for the subdivision infrastructure, that drain system is designed to take this water. So we do have that in our function, in our design.
okay, any other questions? All right, so the application has been successful at shoehorning in to stay out of the 25-foot no disturb. Don't like having things done 50 to 100 feet out because of the lot and the topography that's going to be getting done in this. So any other concerns, or should we have additional constraints because everything is getting very close up to the edge? There's this documentation and the plans.
I'm comfortable with it. I mean, all the work that they've done up there to this point has been
On all
spot
the
on.
lots.
Yeah.
It's very conscientious of what they do up there, and they do a pretty good job at it, so I'm
Okay,
comfortable with it. He's been doing it for 2 or 3 years now, and
I have no problem with this, but let me just throw it out for general. When you have lawns near a wetland, is there any instinct that we should say limit the fertilizer?
we have done that in the past in our orders of conditions. That's a really hard thing to police. I mean, we can put it in there.
Yeah, I know you need the phosphorus to get the lawn started, but once you get it, you shouldn't have to.
problem, that's not, it is deed restriction.
So hard.
If it's
Yeah,
in the
we
order
haven't had,
2 years anyway.
We can most certainly put it in the order of conditions. We have in the past.
Because I wouldn't mind, because this is like right as a big lawn, and I imagine they're gonna have a nice lawn.
We can add it to one of the lines.
So I would
Yeah,
make a motion that to approve this subject with a minor request for no fertilizing
And then
after the initial installation of the lawn.
in the buffer zone or something like that. It's probably mostly in the buffer zone.
It's
Not all
mostly,
of it is.
you have to.
Not all of it is, yeah.
So in terms of Susan and I knowing what paper was happening, approving the notice of intent, and we would ask Fred to write up the order of conditions for us to approve at our next meeting.
Sounds right.
So Fred, are you comfortable doing the paperwork since we don't have a clerk?
absolutely. We've done it before. Yeah,
Yes,
it's, we can prepare that.
and we would like, since you've already taken into account our usual issue with protecting the proposed well area, we would just have that one line about phosphorus and fertilizer. And you should be able to work with Susan, especially now that her grading hill is almost done, to make sure that the paperwork gets submitted appropriately with the Mass DEP portal. All right, so now I'll
Okay,
entertain a motion to approve the notice of intent with that one clause.
So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thanks for coming, Fred. Glad we were able to overcome
okay, yeah.
and do everything.
Oh, I'll try to get this, camera going before I come on next time. It's a new computer. I just had it built. But I have direct access to my office and to you guys, so.
Yep.
I'll try to get it all operating properly for the next time.
Okay,
But, it, hopefully next time I'll be able to come into the meeting. It's a lot easier conducting a meeting if you have somebody there in person.
Be able to hear
So-
better.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Thanks, Bud.
All right, we'll move on to other one, Blackstone. CPP. And the Jonathan Sandlin, Aaron, for works involved in the center. Is there a PPP number now?
Yes, yep. It's 218-0844.
08.
You can also have this.
Oh, sure.
I printed out the information. Here about 4 weeks ago, our bound kind of discussed it. But I'll just give a kind of brief overview, and then I know there was a site visit done. Meets on April 22nd on. With a couple of you guys, I wasn't able to come, so.
I believe I was the only one there.
Okay. So I know you had some points you wanted to be looked at, and I'm here to kind of discuss those two locations we discussed. Is it have to be a isolated wetland here, and then a pipe that comes from this butter's site. But this is a single family home located outside the buffer zone. But due to site access, they do have to do a wetland crossing. Located here. And it does go through the riverfront and some of the various buffers lands as well. Like I said, Tom will take you through the two locations discussed at the sidewalk here. And I believe it's right roughly around here.
So we're asked to look at two specific locations. The first dealing with this isolated wetland in the southern portion of the site there. There was a dug channel from this isolated wetland through this permeable road that currently exists in the field today. And water is exiting the isolated wetland down to what looks like a pile of sticks. And that can be seen in the first photograph that's in the package that I gave all of you. So in the photo, you can see the channel that's exiting the isolated wetland. We were asked to see if that channel was now connecting to the larger bordering vegetative wetland system to the north of the isolated wetland. Based on my field documentation, I do not believe that it is connected. We sampled upland soils in between a small strip of where the large stick pile is located, and then to the north where the bordering vegetative wetland is located. So photos of the soils, those can be seen on page 5 of the package. I went down to 18 inches in those areas, and I hit the upland soil within the first 8 inches of that. So the upland soil is normally categorized as something that's orange in color. And you can see that on the bottom photo of page 5, that's what I would consider a native upland soil with a color of 10YR64.
Was there any fill on top of what you, was there where that channel was dug? Did they just cast it?
No, it just looked like kind of a native topsoil, which was a color 10YR22. So a brown kind of fine sandy loam material. It didn't look like a fill material on top of that. It kind of generally looked what I would consider as a native forested area.
I'm not sure where you're digging off the road, but that road itself is filled.
The road itself is most definitely fill. I can agree with that. It's a
Okay,
large,
so-
probably 6 foot area.
Right, and you keep calling it an isolated wetland. That is a ditch has been dug across the road that was filled 10, 20 years ago. And I'm assuming there was some sort of natural connection from that isolated wetland downhill. And you've dug one spot.
So my soil location was dug right here. Between where the channel is located currently, that being in this section, I dug in this area right here between the wetland and the isolated section. So maybe in the past, they might have filled a portion of it, but there is no channel that's located between these two. And I did sample upland soils throughout this area, so that is,
Is that a natural area that you?
it's a natural area out there. There's large trees, there's native vegetation. The only area that's been disturbed is where the bill was added for the road. But there's no channel that's located between the two here that would indicate that a presence of hydrology in that area. So that's just my take on it as a scientist and a professional. I don't believe that those areas are hydraulically connected. There might have been fill placed on top of this area in the past, but it's not connecting between the two. So I do believe that this area is isolated.
So what's your answer to the problem that you have now that there is a big ditch? You're gonna put a pipe in there?
So that's exactly what's going on. You can speak to that.
Yeah, so we proposed using just a 12-inch EDF pipe here, just to, replace the current ditch that was dug.
And any sort of head wash with the pipes or how?
I'm sorry?
How low down is the pipe from the top of the road?
Pipe will sit at 358, which is
Right. So what's the top of the road
uh
elevation gonna be?
right there. It's about a foot.
Well, it better be a foot at the bottom of the pipe. Is that 358, the invert?
The invert is at 358. That's correct.
And you're putting in 12-inch?
12-inch pipe.
So
I apologize. No, the top of the pipe will sit at 358. So the bottom of the pipe will sit at 357. I see the issue.
gotcha. So I'm hoping that the pipe is going to sit at the channel that you dug next to the ditch, right? You could either dig it deeper or you could fill it, or I'm assuming you're gonna put it right where it sits. So I don't know what that elevation is, but you need how much between the pipe and the top of the road so it doesn't crush the pipe?
I don't know how.
Okay, well, then what's that pipe made out of? And then my question was, are there gonna be head walls? As that sticks out, and how do you finish that? So just maybe a little thought along those lines?
There will be, right now, it's not proposed. We'll have no head walls.
Right. So no, what sort of pipe?
It's a 12-inch corrugated plastic pipe.
88, yes. I mean,
Yes.
educate me. If you have a wetland on one side of the driveway, and wetland on the other side of the driveway, what makes one an isolated wetland?
So this is why I started taking photos, soil samples, and I looked at the vegetation. So in Massachusetts, we delineate wetlands using a couple of criteria, that being soils and a 50% dominance of wetland vegetation. So when I was taking soil samples through here, that was going to be my first criteria. In Massachusetts and in this wetland here, we saw a mostly muck, which is a dark black organic substance that sometimes lays over top of a depleted colored matrix, so like a gray color soil.
Like a Freetown muck or?
Yeah, exactly, a Freetown muck. So something that is, you can't feel any particles in your hands. It's from a long time of it just being stuck in water, and it's kind of, there's no particles or sand or anything like that. So that's what was characteristic in this wetland here. Between the isolated wetland and the bordering vegetated wetland, I pulled upland soil, so a soil that was orange in nature, and that's that's very native to this region and something that we see all across Massachusetts. It's an orange color matrix in upland areas. So that's how I determined that.
B soil.
What?
B and C, right?
Yep, exactly. So this was the B layer where I came across the upland orange color.
And where it gets to the gray, isn't that where it's always wet, so it turns to like a clay?
Yeah, exactly. So the color just kind of leaves and now it's going to become a gray kind of color. It's not going to change the texture of it. So we can still see a fine sandy loam with a gray color. It's just that because it's been so inundated with water that it's turned this gray color.
And it doesn't support organic life there, so.
It's exactly. So because it's so up, there's so much water in there, there's not going to be so much oxygen. And so it won't kind of support that much life. So in between here, I found the upland soil. That's why I determined that this area was in fact isolated and not connected to this large bordering vegetated wetland system.
So let me get this straight. So you're in front of us for the driveway and the house is out of the buffer zone, or is it still?
Yes, the house is completely out of the we're just here for the driveway. The DEP had one comment, they asked us if we, about the road width. We did 20 foot clear, that's what the fire department likes. So we can make it smaller, so.
Did they have any suggestions as far as snow removal or treatment of sand and salt?
DEP,
Yes.
they did not.
So there's a logic crossing.
Yeah, the larger crossing is located here on sheet 2.
And that's where we should spend some real time with that thing.
It's here, and representation of over the part here.
And it's 2 to 1 or 1 to 1. What do you replicate?
We have 420, we're altering and we're replacing it 565, so a little bit over. There will be an open box culvert. It's right over it.
What 1 to 1 make it 8?
1 to 1 would be 420 altered, 420 replace. For every 1 square foot, you would replicate 1 square foot.
How wide's the 24 foot?
So this is 20 foot clear to clear here. I mean, you have a little bit. Yeah, to the wall, 2 feet on either side. Walls.
So what's the?
I apologize, it's really here, 356 is here.
Well, that's original. Okay.
That's original.
What's the?
Top of the walls are gonna sit at 3.5, which is top. I believe that was one of the things you guys requested was to have those elevations in there. And then also these dewatering riprap beds, which does come with a detail.
Is this running right now? Or what?
It was, I think, was it running quite heavily or? I don't know,
You were telling me,
Well, it's a perennial stream, so it should be running for a year.
the mainstream, you're saying.
Yes, Main Street.
Yeah, that's.
So, do you know who's doing the site work on this yet or no?
We do not. I know Mark Cutler is the contractor for the house and kind of helping with the design. Build.
So, so the stream's running right under this box culvert.
Yep, the stream runs right underneath the box.
And the plan is to. So does the box culvert come pre-manufactured? Is that what?
Yeah, they're prefabricated and walls, and then these portions are also prefabricated.
So are there footings being poured in?
Yeah, you'll pour the footings first, and then they'll just place these prefabricated. They're basically used just on top of the pour footing.
What's the dimension of the culvert, the width of it?
The width is going to be, it's 8 feet wide by 4 feet high.
And it's not
Open body.
It has to be less than 1.2% of that or times that in order to meet stream crossing standards.
So are they gonna be able to dig these footings without disturbing the stream bed?
It's an open box culvert, so yeah, that's,
They have to go in and dig 2 stream footings to set this thing on top of. That's a 2 foot.
it's not gonna disturb the stream bed itself, it'll disturb the bank and
Right,
a little above it, but that's the reason why you go with 1.2 times larger than that in order to minimize disturbance in total.
What are they doing to capture the plant as the river's running?
For like when they dig the foundations, they'll pump the water into these dewatering beds. The deep beds here. And these dewatering beds, you'll basically make a little sump and then pumping into these dewatering beds. And the dewatering beds have riprap in them that will catch the fines. As the water getting back to the ground. Yeah, and then the ripraps, they're proposed outside of the wetlands.
On the screen.
Oh, thank you.
Here and here.
How is that outside the buffer? Isn't it 20 foot? Buffer zone for,
It won't be pumped out of the buffer zone. It'll just be pumped out of the wetland.
Temporary.
It's a temporary control measure.
you know, when it fills up, it just overflows and runs over the land or?
Yeah, I mean, it will run along the land and back, and the water will break through the
Clean work.
clean water will go through this. There's nothing to catch on the bottom, so the water will percolate down into the soil here. And then there is a runoff, but it's not a massive stream, so these are 3 feet deep. They're 3 feet deep.
Right. You're also gonna realize that you're talking about something that it's gonna take you a day to dig it, a day to pour the form, a day for the form to cure, a day to put those boxes in, and a day to fill it back in. So that's a minimum at best case scenario, 5 days, you're pumping water from the stream into a 3 foot square.
10 feet by 10 feet square, that's by 3 feet deep.
So no silt sack, just that's what.
No, still, that's what we.
So I'm just saying that the math doesn't seem like it works right with volume versus volume.
Well, it depends on what time of year you plan on doing it too. I mean, if it's almost dried up.
It's,
Do you
we're
know,
moving into the summer months, so it's
do you
getting,
know when the work is being planned? Well, you're not.
I don't have that on the top of my head.
Maybe a special condition could be added that this work takes place during the driest points of the year, like between June through September.
Is there anyone who wants to this?
The way you could also do it is you could put a condition in that if these do begin to fill up and overflow, then we have to use one of those dewatering bags that are typical.
Yeah.
I've used those dewatering bags on projects, but
Yeah.
they're a little big for the stream here.
You know, I'm not trying to make their life more difficult.
No,
Everybody knows how expensive building is now.
Yep.
But what I'm trying to do is make sure that everybody follows the same protocols. So
Absolutely.
that one person doesn't do it one way, where another person does it a different way that is the same exact project design.
Completely understand.
I just have 2 questions. I'm sorry to, it's an 8 by 8 concrete structure that must be 20 years old. That's sitting in the stream. You're walking in.
What is that? No foundation?
No, I don't know what it is. It had a cover over it. It's like somebody was using the water, the farmer. It's a.
Jello well,
It could have been an irrigation well.
Oh, yeah. I saw that when I was out there.
Yeah, well.
What's
It's
that?
on this, it's,
What's that?
I think. Well, this stream goes off the property. I'm assuming.
Yeah, so the perennial stream is up here and the bordering vegetated wetland is shown in the green that runs down to the.
But this stream comes back around, because I didn't go too far off. We were walking the center, right, which is here. And then I'm seeing it is off in the distance, somewhere about here. But, so that was one, it's history, but that's not good. That's an open structure in that, so I don't know. The other question I had, so there was a pipe going up under the.
Yeah, that's,
That's our area 2 in the packet, which I described. So the pipe is located somewhere in this portion right here. And I think it's best if you go to page 7 of the supplemental package to take a look at what this looks like, to see what I'm describing.
The pipe I see, and then I kind of, it goes into like a rock thrown.
So this pipe here was dug originally by presumably this abutter right here.
Okay, so this is an existing
So
road.
this is an existing road and a large lawn space. That's all of this essentially. It's all lawn. And there's a driveway that runs kind of south of the site right here. And photo 8 is some kind of stormwater detention basin that he had dug to prevent the water from either cracking his driveway during the winter when it got cold. So he installed a pipe that led to our client's property and fed the water from his man-made detention basin under the driveway lawn and then spewed out into this forested area here. So what the water has done is created somewhat of a naturalized channel, which you can see in photo 7. That's on our site, and the PVC pipe is leading water out into the forest right there. Photo 8, for whoever's on the Zoom, that's the detention basin on the abutter's property. It was holding water as I was out there during after a large storm event that was on May 1st. And then photo 9, if you just scroll down a little bit further, that's just a little bit upgrading of where the stormwater basin is on the abutter's property, just to show you that there's no wetlands located upgrading of that at all. So I don't believe that this is any kind of jurisdictional resource area. Strict,
If you could go back to 7, because at the site, cinnamon fir, is that an obligate? Is it back up?
so cinnamon fern is back away.
So.
However, in Massachusetts, we need 2 criteria for it to be a wetland.
Okay.
That also being said, the stream is located upgrading of any wetland resource area. And in the regulations, it says that any finger of stream is not considered a stream if it's located upgrading of a wetland. There is no wetland, in my opinion, downstream of it, but just to get that out of the way, this stream does not quantify as a jurisdictional resource, in my opinion, based on the regulations. It's not.
This is the upland area right here.
Correct. That is the stormwater ditch that he dug.
And wait, is that?
That's
that on your
upgrading of that's this property right here.
So I'm not talking, I'm talking about the other side of the driveway. Where the pipe goes under the existing driveway. And then goes into some rocks. That picture on the left.
Okay.
Now it goes off left. And it's not a real clear channel, but you're saying. Well. I'm saying as it goes off left, it goes into an area where there's cinnamon ferns and it's tufted. And so when I see tufts, that kind of says wetlands.
So
And so.
if you look on page 8 of this, that's my auger in a hole where I dug, down gradient of the stream. The stream,
Can you put that on the map where you dug that gradient hole?
so the pipe comes in and the channel runs down adjacent to the road, and then the water just kind of percolates out into this open area of what you're seeing right here. It's just leaves and from the oaks that are above, which are an upland species. Anyway, getting back to it, so this is just downstream of where the water comes out on our site. That's my auger in that location right there. If you flip over to the next page, page 9, you can see that's an upland soil that I pulled from that same location where the cinnamon fern were seen. But again, in Massachusetts, we need to have a wetland soil and a dominance of wetland vegetation in order for it to classify as a wetland. My opinion, that area is not a wetland strictly because of the cinnamon fern, but because there is an upland soil pulled here, it is not a wetland under the Massachusetts Wetland Protection.
Could it be a potential vernal pool?
No, this is a very flat gradient area. So the water essentially just goes in if there's any water, it's going to spread out across the land.
What about the other parts where you say that the stream isn't connected to the, like, there's this disconnect between the wetland and the stream?
So I don't think this area holds enough water for it to be a wetland or a vernal pool. But I mean, it would, I guess, you could take a look at it next spring. We're out of the vernal pool season now for that. However, it is leading out, so there is not much standing water in there because of that stream that was dug. It's kind of emptying, so it's not holding very much water at all.
What's the definition of the quantity of an isolated acre foot or something?
So isolated land subject to flooding is an area that holds a 1/4 acre foot of water. And this area is far too small for it to hold a 1/4 acre foot. That would need to hold at least 10,000 square feet of water in it at a foot deep. And this is not nearly large enough for that.
So it's not a quarter acre.
No, so it needs to hold a quarter acre foot of water inside of it, internal of it.
I understand. So if it were a quarter acre and if it had 1 foot, it would meet that designation.
Correct.
You're suggesting it's not a quarter acre,
No,
which is 10,000 square feet. Which is-
around there, yes.
Which is 100 by 100.
So the water can be 6 inches deep and then the area would expand.
I understand.
This is a cubic measurement.
Or it could be 2 feet deep and then would only have to be half the size.
This area doesn't hold 2 feet of water. It holds at the maximum 6 inches.
Well, right now you've got a 1 foot ditch. And if you put in a foot of cover over that, that's gonna end up having a 2 foot dam over.
If you'd like, we can measure the area and see how large it is and then come back to you with a rough calculation of this area as isolated land subject to flooding. But in my opinion, I don't believe that this area would qualify for that.
Did you email that by any chance?
So I sent it to Mark Allen and I don't know if, it looks to be on the screen, so.
I think the Carlin, Mendon.
It showed up at 5:18, which is why
So
I
Oh.
didn't get to it.
Okay.
So I was able to forward it to the rest of the committee and we will look at it.
I also have 2 more hard copies too, if you'd like those.
I wouldn't be as much of a nerd, except to go out onto a walk and then find a ditch where it didn't show up at all, when I was always concerned that it wasn't isolated. So it's just, I'm not sure when he dug that ditch. And
We dug it when he built his house.
no, this ditch was dug more recently, and someone's put stone in preparation for doing this, so.
How old is the house?
Fisk, and he's owned it for many years, and he's got machines.
Well,
so
yeah, he put the driveway, but you're saying that was recent.
He put the driveway, but he also put in this road.
Right.
That road is, been improved significantly. But either here or there, I would like a little detail on the volume of that isolated, that's my issue.
It didn't have the 1 foot ditch.
So are you guys okay with the continuance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or go way back to the beginning of the presentation. And one of the first statements you made was that there was some isolated wetlands and it's not connected. Is the committee comfortable with?
You're
Wetlands?
talking about page 3?
Yeah,
Yeah.
area 1 is what
Yes.
it's called in that packet.
Is that page 3?
Yes.
Yeah. So I did have a question on that, actually, going back to that. Was that whole area excavated at one point? I see the trees like pushed over to the side.
So I don't
It's like the soils, it's been moved around.
I don't know what the soil, or I don't know what the area looked like prior to that. I don't know what the area looked like where the ditch was. I didn't flag this wetland, so I wasn't aware of what it looked like prior to the conditions that I saw it at, and that was May 3rd. So the area that I saw was the ditch there, the trees in the way, which I do believe are gonna be removed.
Any auger in this area?
I don't think there was gonna be an auger. I don't think there would be any conclusive evidence because that was like
Topsoil.
probably just like 6 feet of topsoil. That was where that, so that area is what the road is current, what I was calling a road, but it's just basically a large mounded area of dirt that follows essentially this line right here. And then the area that I did the augering in was this natural area north of where the road was, and that's where I pulled the upland soils. And that's an undisturbed section of forest with trees with DBHs of 15 inches at least.
So people comfortable agreeing that that is an isolated wetland. Purposes of moving forward, now to see what we can say, we're in agreement on. Narrow down to the things we want to investigate in the future.
One of the questions I have is, even if it is an isolated wetlands, do they have to be 25 feet away? Sure.
Well, not if they need to do it as part of the stream crossing.
No, the only thing there is you just gotta keep the volume, right? Well, you tell me what you gotta do.
So for filling isolated land subject to flooding, we would be cutting somewhere in the same area, we'd be replicating that. But I don't think there's any need for any fill area in that area. But again, we haven't qualified the fact of isolated land subject to flooding. I believe under the amended bylaw, there is a 1-to-1 replacement of any wetland resources. So that isolated wetland, if it ended up getting filled, then it would be replaced at a 1-to-1 ratio.
But your current plan, you don't expect that.
No, it stayed out of that, kind of wraps around it.
Excuse me. So the question is, it's staying 25 feet away from you.
It is not, no.
So how close are you getting?
It's pretty close. It's within 10, 15 feet.
All right, so, you want some calculations on that?
I would like some calculations, and I don't think we have to, I might be tempted to go out and look around myself, if you don't mind, just, but if there's no connection, you're right, it's not.
So, I would like to know if you can find out when they're gonna start the construction on the project, you know, for the culvert, you know, what time of year, you know?
They were telling me they were itching to get going. He was looking for permission to start cutting trees in the entrance, because we get going, so, which would be a good thing, right? Because then they could do work in the summer.
Yeah, so there's one called the culvert area.
Okay, so can someone summarize what we will ask them to come back and present to us in 2 weeks?
All we're asking for is details on that isolated wetland as to the volume and the area.
And maybe a construction schedule.
Said that you had a contractor, but you did not know who would be doing the actual work on the work.
Yeah, the earthwork portion. I can reach out to that. Yeah, they might not have one yet. They probably do, but I can ask.
And maybe some kind of detail for, should that stream not slow down enough to have the detention area, means in the body.
And then we have a water bag.
Silt bag, silt sack. They pump the water into the silt sack to hold the fines back.
And I think that's more expensive.
I don't know, I mean, the excavation for those pad sites is kind of a lot of work.
But it has more volume, right? You wouldn't get the same volume.
Right.
My concern about even if we do suppose a dry season, last summer it was pretty wet. So if you can say, if you have a contingency plan, if it looks like the weather forecast for the next 3 weeks is a whole lot of rain, we have an alternate method in addition to the two 10-foot by 10-foot paths. That you have something that you use as an alternate.
Yeah.
Addition, supplement.
I know those silt bags would probably be our contingency plan, just because those silt bags are made out of like geotextile, non-woven fabric. You can pump a lot of water into those, and if you ever see one working on it, they blow up like a balloon.
Okay, if you can see some way to add that
Yeah.
to the existing plan. we would end up-
I've used some on much bigger projects than these,
Okay,
so I know the sizing and.
any other questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to continue 101 Blackstone till our 2 weeks.
I'll make a motion to continue 101 Blackstone with the feedback from the engineer based on the items that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Unanimously?
Oh, sorry.
It's just two
No
more.
one's
comments.
educated me on the
Appreciate it.
politics of this. I haven't had any training.
Last public hearing is for 38 Road, the regulation on the blue water. We received an email from them on Monday asking for a continuance to 16, as they are still working. That may get, if it depends, depends on whether or not they get continued from the planning board or they actually resolve it.
Okay, roads continued.
Right.
I'll make that motion.
Well, before that, I do want to discussion, Susan, putting me on the spot now.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, so, basically, you know, I'm trying to be professional. Oh, sorry. Was a, I know, the part review was light in a couple of areas. There were concerns brought up by the master P and also some things. So, and they responded with a, their responses with their environmental consultant. We need in my opinion, a third-party environmental consultant that's totally independent of any interest of anything. It's just review, give it a light review, but again, just to make sure, because it's the largest project in this town. And it steps away from the resource area.
What are the significant, is it drainage or runoff or industrial? What were the principal concerns?
Yeah, like the industrial use of trucks going in and out. The resource area is like steps away. Because of the way they designed the bays being right next to it. So, and I'm not sure what the process is for doing that peer review, but.
We can request a peer review.
So what I've asked Susan to do is by Monday, so that they have enough time to respond.
Yeah, I'll do it.
To give them a list of our concerns, like we were just talking about, specifically about what we would want to have a peer review done by agency.
Right, yeah, and I appreciate what they've given us a lot of answers, but
Yes.
again, it wasn't independently.
Right, and my understanding is that you have a list of 1 or 2 or 3 possible, and they could
Yes.
choose one.
The one issue I'd like to revisit a little bit is big picture, look at the drainage,
Yes,
not just their, right, coming off from 140, and I don't know what there is there, existing detention ponds with the gas pump, but the detention pond still, it only detains water, right? So I would like someone to look at the whole drainage on Chilton.
send that to me.
Can I write that up?
Yeah. Well, we need lots of.
What are we reviewing?
The drainage, on this parcel.
With the solar farm and the soccer field.
The solar farm and the soccer field are not his property.
Right,
But that water goes down to one location.
But we can't ask him to calculate all the water off-site. Someone else's.
You have to ask, as an engineer's got to size the pipe for all the water that's gonna come onto his yard, whether it comes off of a neighbor or whether it comes off of 140. Someone's got to figure out how much water is coming over and how big by pipe.
So number one, you're not allowed to dump water on someone else's property. So now we're gonna ask him to design a flow of someone's property. Runoff. We're talking about developed
This guy
sites.
just came in with a runoff coming sideways. And so he's got a grade because the existing runoff moves sideways.
I say
So you
existing,
can't call that
yes.
dumping.
I say existing, yes, definitely, but not off-site. Are you talking
No,
about?
right, so, but it comes on site, so someone has to measure it or has to model how much water is coming in. They got to look at the whole watershed, right? Where's the drainage?
We are going to talk about the current state of 23 Cape Road. There is a report of significant runoff coming from the soccer field onto that property. That's not Blue Water's property until they own it.
Yeah.
At such time as Blue Water takes ownership, they can now reach out to us and the town boards asking for assistance in going to those other property owners to say, stop having water flow into it. So I expect to be having that conversation. So definitely we can have part of the peer review saying, currently there is runoff coming in. How do we make sure that that is handled? Either the current property owner, either Blue Water and their planning would agree to say, yes, we'll deal with the stuff coming in, or they would say, no, we're going to want to reach out and make sure that that water runoff from another property is not coming on. Does that meet your?
Yeah, I just want to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be one person's responsibility.
No.
Correct.
That's what, that's gonna make it everybody's
Yeah.
If you remember the last time the Dave was here, the current property owner, I asked, do you want assistance reaching out? He said, no. He wanted to go through.
That's very likely.
And I expected Blue Water has more interest and more money in making sure they don't deal with some of this stormwater than that.
It sounds like there's a perch aquifer there.
That very well could be.
There's one line.
Question from the audience.
Yeah, because you guys love questions from the audience, so I thought I'd pipe up. You should watch the Board of Health meeting from last night. There was landowner here trying to get the Board of Health to listen to a runoff complaint into their property from the maybe the solar farm, maybe the NEFC fields, the NEFC owner was here to say that, no, we're retaining, but they have a whole, they brought the imagery and the satellite imagery up, and it was a long discussion, and
Last night?
it was, yeah, last night, and it was said, it's already on YouTube. And it was said to come to the, Concom and have that discussion. So it was it was just one of the homeowners on the street behind the solar.
So, we got some correspondence.
So there's probably 10 or 15 minutes of discussion last night.
Thank you for cross pollinating.
Yeah,
Words. All right, so any other discuss, so the goal is that we'll be continuing 23 Cape Road, and Susan will be preparing a letter to send to Palmer and Blue Water.
I'll send it around and see.
Okay, so check your email.
Please.
It will be told via text.
I'll come and find you.
Yeah. Okay, so, now, entertain a motion to continue 23 Cape.
I'll make that motion to continue until our next meeting.
Okay, seconded, any further discussion?
Aye. Oh, I'm sorry.
I count quietly in my head for 3 seconds just to make sure. Okay, all in favor?
I,
Opposed?
so I'm not supposed to say four.
That's unanimous. All right, now we can go on to other business that people are here for. You're here for
35, yeah.
You're here for,
47.
okay. And are you?
Keep with me.
Okay, so you have 2 people, so I'll let you go first.
Thank you.
Sure. So you're here for which property?
47 Milford Street.
That's the one that ended up in your partner. right?
Yes, sir, yes, yeah. So we are starting construction on the rain garden Tuesday. The Veron Group is doing the construction on it. They anticipate being done by Sunday of next week. They've given us an end date max at the 26th because some of the flowers that are needed for the rain garden because of the rain and the wet. We're under temporary CLO until June 1st. We had our final inspection with the Cannabis Control Commission on Wednesday night, and we passed with 0 deficiencies. However, we cannot, they cannot submit that report, which allows us then to get the final opening statement from them. And that opening statement can come in 4 days or 4 weeks. There's really no rhyme or reason to when you get those. So we're requesting that you allow the building department to issue us our CO, conditioned on obviously your being pleased with the results of the rain garden, so that we can then have our inspectors submit our final report. Now, there's a very real chance we don't hear back from them and the rain garden's done and this is not an issue, but we can't even start that process without the CFO. So that's what we're here requesting tonight, that you allow us to get our CFO with the building department. You can condition it on the rain garden, and you want to come out to site visits are perfectly fine. I'm pretty sure the Veron Group has reached out to both the building department and to conservation to pull the necessary permits. They're intending on starting work Tuesday afternoon next week. So
In terms of being on the agenda, the reason why we're discussing this under items not recently anticipating 48 hours in advance is because they got the inspection yesterday, and our paperwork is going to block their being able to open their business. So every day that we delay acting on this is a delay in his being able to get a permit. So that's why we're having this conversation, even though normally you want to have it posted 48 hours in advance, so that the community might have a chance to wait. So my first question, are members of the community comfortable doing it on this past basis, or do we want to say, no, we should?
I have a couple questions before you go any further.
Yeah.
Do you need a forum for this?
You can recuse yourself and we can still have the discussion. Yes, so once you are.
I'm 50 Milford Street. I'm your neighbor.
Oh.
I can't vote on it.
Oh.
But welcome to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Actually, you got one of my son's friends. He applied for a position over there.
Did it? Yeah, we started hiring last night.
Come on down,
So I do have a couple. So the CO, he wouldn't issue the CO because of the incomplete rain garden? Is that part of your site plan?
Well, so we're under temporary CO right now, and we were told, and I'm assuming this is accurate, that to get the final certificate of occupancy, the rain garden has to be completed. You guys have to do.
Is the rain garden part of your site plan or
Yes,
is it?
yeah.
It's part of the notice.
We
Yeah.
discussed it in January.
Yeah, it's a significant, it's about $100,000 upgrade to the property that we're doing. We're digging out the back, we're putting in trenches, we're putting in water collection systems, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong.
So the drainage isn't complete then?
The drainage on the main part is, it's just the back part we couldn't do because of the weather delay in the spring. It's finally nice enough to do. It's just a scheduling issue. We had planned on doing it in April, but it just didn't happen.
I don't know what was discussed. It's like,
No.
No.
I don't think it was at the meeting in January.
I was not.
So everything that was required here, there's a new channel that's already done this parking lot. We had absolutely no flooding during the recent downpours that we've had. This front part is completely done already. It's just this back part. We're ripping up concrete, we're putting in this rain garden, and this drainage is coming out over here. And we're working around Kinder Morgan right here there's a 4-foot high pressure natural gas pipeline across the property. So we're working around that to add this in. This will take a solid 5 or 6 days to do. The flowers itself, the plantings might take an extra week because they're just not available.
Is there a swell coming around that gets into that? Cause where's the water?
The water comes down both sides, comes down here and it also runs down. There's a deep drop off from this is the edge of the property. There's a deep drop off here. So the water comes here and then we put a channel in here. So any runoff here is going to go right into the ring.
I have no problem offering a partial conditional upon completion of the rain garden, the rest of it, right? I mean, there's still work to be done, but.
So your parking lot's all paved?
Parking lot's been paved. Yeah, we
Striped, handicap stuff's in.
So we
the
had
only
stripes on some.
Undone thing is the.
Some have come off when they have to bring in some pretty heavy equipment to do the rain garden. So when they come in, we're gonna have to restripe it again, but we're gonna restripe it because it just looks better. And so we have a monthly retail price.
Did you get your cement pattern on the other side closer to the 49?
We're still waiting on that simply because the planning board required a emissions test where we're gonna do the back of the building. We're still waiting for the reviewer to review that. It's been like 2 months he's had it to review. So depending what he says, depends what we do with the back half of that property. So right now, our plans for the back half are on hold. What we're gonna do with it, because we don't know what he's gonna require from us. But the front part of the dispensary is ready to go. We have product in house.
No, and the lawn and everything, you got the trees and whatnot, the place is beautiful.
Yeah, I mean,
Bob, did you recuse yourself?
Bob's is doing a great job.
Anyway.
So I'll make a motion for a partial order of conditional upon completion of the rain garden and the rest of the site work.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Okay, you are recusing yourself, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I will vote aye as chair. Vote. So, Susan, this is something else that you're gonna get worked up in your lap in order to make sure that that's whatever paperwork needs to go to the state happy.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. We'll hope to be open in a couple of weeks. So.
Doing something out of line.
So do we have to send the building department an email saying?
This is where I'm saying, Susan, make it happen.
Partial and all.
Yes.
So what you should do, or if you continue to send an email to Concom, I will nudge her via text to let her know it's there.
Is that what we should communicate just to Concom?
That way it goes to both of us. And what will happen is that you can work with her and whoever in the state needs whatever paperwork they need, she can make sure that that gets produced appropriately.
Outstanding. Thank you very much. Do you guys want to come out and do site visits when they're doing the work on that? Do I notify Veron Group to reach out to you to make sure you have?
If you send an email to the Concom, that you're going to do that, text, maybe side with the.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hope to see you all there.
Does the commission require the canvas, are they looking for the full CO? Is that what they're?
Yeah. Yeah, they're looking for the full CO on it. In the past, they hadn't, but they started doing it recently, so I don't know. Someone must have did something screwy somewhere. That's usually when they change these rules.
I know it's not really a question, is it like a medical place or just a recreational?
It's just recreational right now. Medical requires vertical integration, which means you have to have the grows, the processing, and then the dispensaries. We don't have the grows, we're just into processing, which is what we plan to do in the back, and the dispensaries, which is. But there's no difference in product, just so you know, between medical and adult use. It's the exact same product. It just allows you to buy more. The medical patients require higher doses. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
You're up.
Yeah, thank you so
Everything
much.
that's happened today and not tomorrow, so you would have had to wait for 2 weeks.
I know, right? Thank you.
All right.
Rich, Casada, I see you're next. Yeah, hello.
This is just.
So you're here for.
It's first about the captain, I think just administrative stuff, basically, we can take care of. I know,
It's just getting.
Hold on, wait. Let's wait for the side conversations to finish. Okay.
Sorry, it's for 35 Taft Ave. Up here, I think just pretty much an administrative procedure that, I've spoke with you, Carl, and you, Susan, on the phone.
Okay.
The nudging has been going back and forth, and I'm just trying to get,
Yeah.
we have everybody to get this project kind of
I'm
wrapped
pretty
up.
sure somebody went into the town portal and pushed the button,
Yes,
and I think now you're not waiting for us.
yep, so that actually just got cleared up. Somebody clicked it at the beginning of this week, but actually John Erickson just clicked it this afternoon, a couple hours ago, so if the demo permit is officially in place. So this is just in regards to the conservation part of it. If there was, I mean, last time I was here with the engineer, presented the whole project, it was approved, and there was, from what we understood, no conditions, because the engineer had asked
Right.
if we needed to draft up an order of conditions, and you
Right.
said, no, we're good with the plan.
Your well is far enough
Yep.
outside the demolition zone, it's far enough away from the lake.
Yep, and he has the erosion control done on the place, and everything like that, everything's been put into place. I'm sorry.
Erosion control, is that in place now?
It is, yes, yep, and I actually sent you pictures of it, by email this afternoon, so. So I think it's just, I know, Carl, I was talking to you, you said if there's no order of conditions, there's something else that usually gets put in
Negative
place.
determination, is that? what
That
it
was the word I was looking for,
Oh,
and I couldn't remember, sorry.
That's okay.
Said, but I was not looking for it, I said, Carl said there was something that goes into place when there's no order of conditions, and that was the.
Even though it's like a lake, it doesn't.
Or negative determination.
The
A
negative
negative
determination.
determination that you're doing work in the buffer. All right, you're not doing work in the well, right? And you're keeping as far as possible, right?
So you don't need any.
So I have,
Well, no, we need a determination of negative.
Okay, I filled out the OC one.
Is this the one with your, is this the stucco house?
Yes,
And that's being torn down, right?
correct.
that's the demolition.
So.
Can you give us your song?
And you have a file number for DEP.
Yep,
Yes.
correct, I've got that posted
Yeah,
up.
We do. Well, then it's not a negative determination.
Yeah, he's got the number and everything.
Okay, so.
It's not negative.
It's right
It's
here.
not a negative.
Right.
So, but so we do have to write up the order of conditions and sign.
Well, I started it. I just wasn't quite sure what areas, so.
If
You guys
you,
don't
oh, you
sign
were waiting
it?
for the conditions? Or
Why,
did you-
yeah, I just didn't.
Right, we don't have others than our.
Yeah.
We've already done everything on the front.
Right.
We expected that.
We still don't submit this to.
Well, we still gotta sign it.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
let's get your paper.
Yes, I do this.
Okay. And what about the
We
rest
can
of
do
it?
that at the end along with everything.
We can
else.
fill
Have someone else.
Okay.
waiting for us.
All right, so,
Sit around, sign and.
So we can do this after, right?
Let's.
Yeah, I can stick around.
Oh, did you want, oh, you want to take it with you?
If you don't mind, yeah,
Okay.
why I'm
Well,
here.
we gotta make copies and everything, so. Yeah, okay.
I can wait, if you want to take it
Okay.
next one, we can. No problem.
see what you paid for today?
Yeah, there's someone on Zoom.
Some lush green grass you got there. Good.
The DEP numbers, oh, I was.
Mention fertilizer.
Yeah. Actually saw it. I think that's what made it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, I just saw it. Thick.
Okay, so let's go back to teams. Rich Kanata, I see that you're on here. You are looking to have a discussion with us about proposed tree removal at 50 Blackstone.
Correct,
Are you-
yep.
Okay, so let me go back to bring up the email that you sent with stuff.
Sounds good.
I don't want to do that.
Based on Google Drive.
I have no idea what my Google password is.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, no, we don't remember.
Well, I have it built into my
Oh,
browser.
not here.
Well, what's this, you're asking to take down a tree removal around your house or?
Yeah, let me bring up this picture here. So here's 50 Blackstone, and there's the stream is going across, and he's interested in removing some trees in this area. And the tree service that he was talking to said, that's a nice wetlands they got there. I want to make sure that we are able to work with him and on what recommendations we would have with the tree cutting people to make sure that they don't negatively impact this. So let me see.
The house seems like it's pretty far forward.
It's way in the back there, the wetland right up.
The house is back here, but so he's interested in getting some.
So this is one where we did the joint crossing, right? There was one crossing that serves both those lots, 50 Blackstone and maybe 52.
Uh,
Yeah,
not
there's
sure.
a joint crossing there.
Right. And so where do you want to take the tree? What, do you want to take trees off in the wetland or just in the buffer around the wetland? Or how many trees? What's your intent?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a little bit of both, and it's a kind of 2 or 3 pronged process. I'm looking to redo my driveway this year. So there's like a cluster of 8 ash trees, another cluster of 4, and then like 3 ash trees that are in like getting close to the wetland area. They're in like a stone area for the crossing. They're all decimated by the ash borers. There's tons of holes in them, bark's falling off. And being that I'm planning on doing my driveway this year, they're looking pretty nasty. They've been dead for a couple of years. There's been no foliage growing, and I want to get them out of there before they create a hazard. And my hope is to get them out before I do the driveway, because this way we can, hire a company that will do cranes, lift the trees out there without, disturbing the wetlands by dropping the trees into the wetlands. Only a couple trees are in the wetland area. The others are more in the buffer zone further up towards the house. I did take pictures, and I think he's struggling to get into the email, but I did take pictures of the trees we were looking to get rid of.
Yeah, we do.
How big are the trees? 10 inch, 12, 20 inch diameter? Or-
I didn't measure them. I mean, they're pretty sizable.
What we do have is the letter from American Climbers describing they would be using a crane and a bucket truck.
Correct.
However, the goal would be that they would keep those 2 pieces of heavy machinery on the existing driveway, and that way they wouldn't need to be going into the wetlands.
Rich, do you plan on leaving stumps in place?
So up closer to the wetlands, the goal is to leave the stumps in place. They're in like they have big stones all around them. Is what rip wrap or whatever. So you wouldn't be able to grind stumps even if we wanted to. So in the area closest to the wetland, the goal is and plan is to just leave the stumps. further up, I have a couple gardens, which I believe are outside of the buffer area or pretty close. They might be in the buffer area. Those ones I was hoping to grind down because they're in a garden. So my thought was grind them down and we can use that garden area.
But you're gonna grind, not excavate and pull them out.
Correct. Yeah, we would grind.
How many trees in total are being pulled, removed, and how many are in within the buffer zone?
So it's 22 total trees, but one of them is a cluster of 8. It's like a multi-trunk ash. I think if you were to count that as one tree, it's like 7 or 8 total trees. I believe I'd have to like fully measure. I think the buffer is 200 feet. My gut says probably 3, maybe 4 in the buffer zone, but I'd have to measure to be certain.
Okay, so Peter, and what paperwork would we generate that would make the American Climbing Tree Service comfortable with the work? What kind of approvals?
They are verbal sufficient, just be careful.
Negative determination with any conditions that you want to put on it, but we used to have a form for negative determinations.
Did you say you're using cranes or you're gonna be, so the ones that, my concern are the ones in the wetland. Yes, you don't want them falling in the wetland, so you gotta make sure they fall the right way. And you gotta winch them out or you're gonna crane them out.
They're going to bring 2 cranes. They're bringing a large crane and a small crane and a bucket truck.
Okay, cranes should be nice and clean, so just tell them to minimize disturbance around the wetland and it's near, and just try to do a clean job.
All right, that sounds perfect.
Everything sounds like you're gonna do it to the best of the ability that you can, and using the stump grinder as opposed to pulling them out with a machine makes it clean as well. So the only thing I would suggest is just some kind of language from this board that says that there'll be no heavy equipment in the wetlands you're gonna stump grind.
And you're not grubbing, you're stump grinding. No grubbing, no grubbing the stumps. You can grind them if they're out of the wetland. Or maybe you can.
Yeah, the ones that are in the wetlands, we wouldn't be able to grind anyways. There's all riprap around them.
And I would suggest, Steve, you should be grinding probably in the 25-foot buffer. But,
Yeah, we're nowhere near the 25-foot buffer. I think the grinding would be like minimum of 100 feet.
that's no problem. We don't have jurisdiction, so knock yourself
All right.
out.
Okay.
Very good.
All right, so good luck with your grinding and we'll. If you want to do any other work in the buffer in the future, there you go.
All right, very good. Thank you so much.
Yes.
But he's
No.
running for office.
It's here to listen. Yep, I'm just the weirdo. It's here to listen. Takes notes.
Don't be so hard on this.
We're running for select board. Jason. Nice to meet you too. Good luck. Thank you.
Okay.
What street do you want? Blackstone.
Do we have?
I walked past both these projects.
There's one issue I need to.
A couple other things to do. I'll wait for Susan to get back.
Wait, he had one question about the order of conditions, the really no conditions, about whether it has to be reported the, as well.
Do you want this recorded with the registry of deeds as well, or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
We need a copy back of the stamping with the recording.
So that was something, sorry, when I was up there, I forgot to mention, but in the email, I gave you a copy with the stamp of the 2013 one that's been closed out.
Okay.
So that was in.
Perfect.
So yeah, I'll do the same.
Thank you. Carl, what do we have? Next agenda item is 23 Cape Road, the existing stormwater runoff. It's runoff during 430 Stone. We received email from 14 Talbot. I saw earlier that on the call, Christine Buckhold is present. Damon went and took a video of the work that has been completed. And this is a video of the retention pond that has been dug and showing that it is actually currently capturing stormwater. There is stormwater that appears to be coming from the soccer field and is now filling this pond up. So this is the temporary work, temporary meaning up to 5 years, that Abe, the current owner, has brought inspection for a hedge. This is the work that has been done for the retaining water. And the goal, the expectation is that in future storms, there will not, this will be sufficient to run off from getting into what the stream, the buffer zone. So any questions about this? Run it again.
I think they did a nice job. There was a lot of rain. It's nowhere near overflowing, so.
Actually, a big detection.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so that's that particular status one. Okay. What did you want to bring something up?
I want to talk about Old Path Ave.
Yes, that's also on the list. And Old Tap Lab, discuss report and evidence being a resource here. There's been reports that we've got a picture from a neighbor showing that they had something doing digging in the dump truck. There's some further verbal report that they were actually reaching over and doing some work in the actual lake itself.
And if you go out there now, they built a very nice little wall, and there is a 4-inch pipe going right into the lake. Now, I thought that I was cutting them a break. Maybe there was a wall and they were repairing the wall. I don't think so. We got a cryptic response from Damon, who built the house, right? And he said, well, I don't know anything about a wall, but that there had been a pipe there. Well, didn't he demolish that whole house? So
On Old Taft?
on Old Taft?
Yeah.
So if there was an old pipe there, that should have been demolished too. So
Is it, I thought it was the neighbor.
it's, I don't know who's doing it,
I
but.
thought it was the neighbor that was doing it.
Well, I don't know who's doing it, but somebody built a wall.
And it was the next property over from that. I saw the picture. Somebody
Okay,
sent a picture.
somebody sent it at our last meeting.
Yeah.
We looked at it and the machine was there.
This is the picture.
That was the picture we saw at our last meeting.
The picture that we saw showing work.
That's the
being done
neighbor next
Well,
door.
I don't know who it is, but- or
They
what
said-
property.
Somebody said who it was.
Well, there's now a wall there, built there with this pipe going, so where's that pipe? So you can't just build a wall next to the lake, right? Without an order of conditions. So we gotta write a notice of violation.
We gotta find out who it is.
Say,
We gotta find out who it is.
well, it doesn't matter who it is in my
Well,
opinion.
we sent a letter to
Well,
him.
that's right. We gotta find out.
That's what I mean. I mean, the owner, you know?
All right, easier to write a letter, send it to.
I will find out the owner and then draft a notice of
I think
violation.
that- I think the pipe, wherever that, there's always
There
pipe.
is a-
It's not, is it a new pipe, Peter? Or is it?
Yes, no, it's a brand new pipe because they built a wall right here. So I think they just extended that pipe. So you told me where that pipe comes from.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they extended it right into the lake.
And there's no erosion control.
I didn't do it that young.
After you send me the draft, I'll come in next Monday or Tuesday, or the people, I'll figure out who to send the letter to. And then we'll ask them to appear at our next meeting.
I would imagine it belongs to whoever's right in front of it, right? Maybe.
I would think that the lot goes right, both sides of the street, right? I'm sure they all do.
All right.
So you like, you didn't, some people, they're looking at it saying, where's it come from? Yeah, you know, so it's like a.
So Bob, I will be working on sending a letter to you. The task force. And so I'll be asking you.
You use it.
Keep me here. Discussion.
You just put in
It says space interactive.
Another activity.
I want to see this. See, I can see, I'll be able to see the telephone pole.
Oh, okay.
I'll be able to see whose property is behind.
What Mass GIS?
No, or Massachusetts Interactive Property Maps will do.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Second one.
Well, speaking of, what's the name of the?
Just click on the blue writing and first paragraph. Yep. Just zero, you can zero right in behind it if you want. Yeah, whereabouts? Old Taft.
It's gotta be 71 maybe, or 73, or what's the other one?
Okay, so,
Could be that one. What's that?
no, click on,
Could be 7.
click on the square boxes. Here, X out of that. Click on this.
Could be 7.
Click on that. And then you can zero in a little bit, not too much though. All right, so we're looking at the pole. Here's that pole on the corner. Someone was, I think they were digging right in here, so click on that. You'll have to click out of this, yeah. I mean, out of that, yeah, and go right back into this one here. Maybe zero out a little bit. Yeah, okay.
So
And just click on one of these properties. It could be Lambert or this one here.
I will work with the.
I'm sorry, this one, that one. Yacht Club.
Well, that's the yacht.
It's either this one or that one.
Okay.
It's either 73 or 71. I
Which
think.
one did they didn't do that?
I'm not sure. One of those. So the one, if you look at 75, they have no beach, so I don't know, you think it would be that one?
But they don't own it.
That's the name that someone put out there. That was digging.
Is that the person, would they be having the pipe coming from their property?
Oh, I don't know, but I think that picture that was sent a couple weeks ago,
Yeah,
wasn't that the name that was on that?
Well,
That's what, I thought I saw that.
she's the one who's complaining.
Oh,
So, and or what's it, Jean? Does she live down there?
Jean.
The more? Right. Who was that balcony that the picture's taken?
Oh, I think that's the yacht club.
Is that the yacht
Isn't
club?
it?
That was to, I don't know.
That's coming around the bit, that's coming toward Route 16.
I'll,
Anyway, well,
I'll work my way back and work with people in town halls and figure out the letter. should be.
Yeah.
All right, any further discussion on 10 Old Taft? Okay. Last one, I believe, Lake Nipmuc yearly weed treatment. Got a nudge from Dan Breyer, because he doesn't want to have closed the beach this summer. So, I said, I don't have a clerk, but take a look, and so he is one to see about, what the next step is in getting money taken out of our line item to pay for the lake treatment that they have proposed.
That who proposed?
We got a,
Oh, from the treatment people?
treatment people sent us something back in January saying, here's what we want to do. I said, I don't have a clerk, hold off on it. Well, Dan is saying he doesn't want to hold off on it.
It's always a timing thing when they open the
Yes.
beach. Yeah.
So,
so you've tasked him to kind of review it and
well,
make recommendations?
it's the same as last year, since there haven't been any material changes, land condition, or we heard about it in papers, we would be going ahead with that. So something else to come under play in future years. If you look at the town meeting, when they go through all of the conservation commission, there is a line item for Lake Nipmuc treatment. Yes, because it cannot be part of, because it's ongoing maintenance, it is part of any of the other accounts. It has to be, like, it can't come out of the It has to be budgeted. It's out of that.
Didn't we run into problems where we were splitting over fiscal years, so we had to do some out of some and some out of.
I think we solved that.
Solved that, okay, good.
In part because we're not with the different, much smaller company who can be very flexible.
Good.
Because they're working with the local company. Okay,
There's something.
yep,
The, form, the, COC. Finally got all the paperwork from her, so we need to sign it.
oh, the one that's been
No.
bouncing around.
Yeah.
They lost the page.
Yeah, so, well, we have everyone here.
Sign it.
Yes.
Okay. In terms of, Peter, you weren't here when I went over the agent on top finances. Yeah. Bill for getting rid of the beaver. Beavers, on late months.
How much was that, do you know,
450.
for one beaver?
I think there were a few different line items, 300. I was zooming my way through the piles and I just, oh, okay, beavers, okay. And in terms of hiring a new admin agent, there are serious questions about this police background check, which, I told like him, almost certainly not be hired. There are other, the short-term plan where you would get 3 hours a week from an admin that they're going to be hired. Both Kim and Shelley are HR person, are short timers, so I'm gonna have to see about coming down and getting in people's faces. Long term, we might do a joint hire with the town of Douglas. Where we would give 20 hours for the agent and they would give another 20 hours and they split.
It's all the benefits there, 20 hours. Yeah, 19 is the cut.
I
We're gonna split the benefits or something with the other town.
I would hope so. You know,
That'd be sweet.
I don't like the practice of.
Just having this leave, it's work, you know.
Yeah, I don't like the practice of forcing people to work 19 hours just so you don't pay benefits. It's cheese. It's not the American way. I don't know. Well, it's the Wall Street way for the last 30 years, but I don't like it. All right, any other activities since last meeting or items that people want to discuss? Let me check the Teams call and see, I don't see anybody else. Who has hands raised, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
No discussion, all in favor?
I,
Okay, we're adjourned, see you in 2 weeks.
Apparently the,
You run unopposed?
No.
Unopposed?
There's 3 people running for 2 sides.